Hello, everybody. This is Robert Gabriel, President and CEO of Microwize Technology. Thanks so much for joining. Under those special circumstances, I hate to meet in circumstances like that. I remember the only thing that brings to memory a bad time was the coronavirus when we had to meet and give people different options. But the couple of things, this is my contact information, and I have with me Michael Salib, Kim Burgess, and Joe Baker. Michael is the Director of Technical Operation. Kim is the Product Specialist, and Joe Baker is the Product Specialist, the person that will help you in sales with any switching or anything that you might need. Just a disclaimer, anything that you learn in this seminar, you need to verify yourself. Microwize cannot be held responsible for any loss of revenue or data. Just the latest updates. It's confirmed that the hacker group was the Black Hat hackers, and there's rumors and evidence that proves that they received $22 million from Change Healthcare or United Health. That happened around March 1st. And it's a bad news and good news at the same time. For me, it's bad news because the bad people are earning money and they will keep doing this to other entities. The good news is we're just going to have that nightmare behind us and people will be going back and running very soon. Change Healthcare announced that they're going to start testing on around March 18th for returning the system. And my personal projection, it might happen before that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm hoping that things will be clear by the 15th, not the 18th, but I could be wrong. Also, for the latest updates that we have this is the link that we put updates for you on microwize.com. It's just what other options if you don't want to wait till the 18th. So, and if you cannot wait till the 18th, the paper claims, just like we mentioned last week, most payers, they will accept paper claims and we can help you. And we recorded some training sessions on how to do that. If you don't know how to handle paper claim. Now with paper claim is most usually commercial, they will accept the black and white that prints out of Medisoft and Lytec, and Medicare, they will do the pre-printed form, the red ones that you usually have the QR code on it. The other thing is there's ways you can submit claims through Navanet or Ability. This is not all payers, but to some payers, and we do have documentation that we can send you of which payer, what's the best solution for each payer as a temporary solution. Of course, you can transition out of Change Health if you want. Now, there's a lot of people are doing that. The reason that I don't like to do that is because the re-enrollment costs money, and also it takes a while, especially for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So Medicare, Medicaid also can take time, but I think eMedix, they do Medicare much quicker. Correct, Michael?
Yes, I think we've had around 10 to 14 business days, which is significantly better than what Medicare used to do before.
But again, if things will be back and up and running, hopefully by the 18th or 19 or 20, I rather do that than switch clearinghouse, because what's happening here can happen to anybody. And, I don't want you to switch to find out the one that you switched to just got hacked and we're back to square one. Now, hopefully that will not happen, but anything can happen. Now, people asking about credits and refunds. So Change Healthcare we're going to work with them to secure a refund for the downtime. And Microwize is offering a whole month of EDI credit that can be applied toward re-enrollment if you choose to re-enroll with a different clearinghouse. So usually the enrollment is $295 for the first provider, and we can apply a whole month of EDI credit toward that $295 enrollment fee. Of course, if you have more providers, it will cost additional money. Financial assistance. I found an article that's for people that you can apply for financial assistance from United Health. This is depending on how much you've been earning before, and you can apply, you can get financial assistance. This is like a loan with zero interest from United Health. And I found this article here. You can do a screen capture for this article. And let me just show you what the article looked like. So it's saying here that provider can receive financial assistance for hack. And I'm sure it affected everybody financially. So let's say you're down $100,000, you can apply for a loan, 100,000. Once you get paid that money, you need to of course, to repay that money. So this is the article. You can follow this article for additional information. Okay, so now let's open the floor for Q&A.
So Robert, can I ask you if you can email us this to everyone? Because it's very difficult for me to take like
yes, everybody is going to
snapshot.
get email for the recording, and you can just
for that United Healthcare loan, whatever.
yes.
Can you
okay,
email it?
I will do
Okay.
that. Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Kim, if you want to help me with the reading some of the questions. So if you have a question, please, we have a lot of people on the phone on the meeting today. So please write your question and Kim is going to read it and myself and Michael Salib will do our best answering the question.
Absolutely. So the first is from Dr. Parikh asking if we can have another meeting next Friday for another update.
Of course, sure, we'll do that.
Okay. We have another question from Christine saying, I was told on a webinar with Availity this morning that re-enrollment is required of all payers that require enrollment, and there is no emergency workaround for that.
That sounds right. Now, is
Yeah.
that mean, so you're saying there's no payers at all will take like claims with no, okay. So the clearinghouse will need that. If you're switching clearinghouse, you need to be enrollment. But I was told that there's certain payers that you can submit claims through the portal without
Yeah, Robert, that is correct. With the enrollments, a lot of payers do not require enrollment for claim submission. However, payers that do require enrollment will always require enrollment. So mostly our government carriers, many of the Blue Cross Blue Shield, they require enrollment for electronic claim submission. But anyone who does
that
not,
sounds very
we
logical.
can submit
Yes,
immediately.
I agree with that. That sounds very logical.
And then, Kim, if you want to
Okay.
jump to the bottom, Christine just also left another comment. They basically told her that if
Yeah.
enrollment is required, generally they will not bypass this because of the hack, which does that totally makes
Correct.
sense. Yeah.
Okay, so Kim, can you explain that point again? Because I'm sure people will get confused about it. Explain the job of the portal and who you can submit and who's you're not going to be able to submit.
Yeah, absolutely. So with switching clearinghouses or utilizing Availity to send claims out, Availity does more or less function as a clearinghouse. So a lot of your payers or a lot of commercial payers do not require enrollment to submit electronic claims, meaning that if you were to sign up or if you were to submit a batch of claims, you would not need to worry about enrollment for a majority of your carriers. However, the few carriers that do require enrollment for claim submission, generally, as I said, your government carriers, a lot of Blue Cross Blue Shield plans will require this as well. For those ones that do require enrollment, they do have to have enrollment for that submission.
Thank you.
The next question that we have is, what is this Optum EDI they're offering to providers now? Can we simply switch to that?
But that's almost like another clearinghouse. So you will need re-enrollment with the payers that needs enrollment.
Yeah, Optum behaves the same exact way as Ability and Navinet. They can process claims if you send them the file, just to like payers that don't require enrollment, but they will, if you choose to go to Optum as your clearinghouse, then yes, enrollment will have to happen just like you're signing up with a brand new service. So Optum behaves, there's multiple clearinghouses that are doing the same thing just so they can help providers, but it will require enrollment eventually if you completely move to Optum. The one thing that I would like to highlight on that is Ability, Optum, Whitestar, great deal of clearinghouses out. They do not have full integration with Medisoft, so there is manual work that you'll have to do with sending claims and bringing reports and for ERAs to be auto-posted. Yes, you can have the auto-posting functionality, but you will have to download those reports and import them in revenue management. So before you make that decision, just keep that in mind because it will add a few steps to you or your staff or your billers or whoever is doing the work just from a productivity standpoint or efficiency standpoint. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you give us example of the payers that don't usually need enrollments?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I believe United Healthcare, I believe Aetna. Generally, if there's anybody that is interested in switching clearinghouses or if they're interested in getting some more information about that, we can let you know of the standard payers that don't require claims enrollment. It's just difficult off the top of my head because there's so many payers out there. Many of them do not require. I think UMR is another one. I can't even think of all the names off the top of my head, unfortunately. But you can find it on clearinghouse as well. For example, on eMedics, if you go to the eMedics website, you can see a payer list, and it will also tell you who requires enrollment for claims.
So the ones that don't require enrollment, you can submit an electronic claim through another portal without having to change clearinghouse. The ones that don't require enrollment, if you switch clearinghouse, of course, you're not going to need to sign enrollment. But the ones that we know for sure that needs enrollment is Medicare, Medicaid, Blue Cross Blue Shields, and few others. But the major commercial, they usually don't need enrollment. Okay, next question.
Yeah, more or less. The next question that we have is our bank account information compromised in this hacking?
If the clearinghouse have your banking information, then yes, it's possible that it was hacked, but that will be your routing number, your account number, your address, your name, of course. And I'm sure there's nothing you can do other than changing your bank, and you don't want to do that. So banking usually have a lot of precaution for preventing fraud. Banks, they get frauds all the time. They never tell us about it. They usually subsidize it so they don't expose the type of fraud that and scare consumers. So I think if you were a victim of a fraud at no fault of your own, I don't think you will be liable for it. So I would not go and switch a bank because of this. And as far as patients, yes, the patient information most likely get compromised, but that's United Health and Change Health Care problem, not your problem, because there's a HIPAA associate agreement and they need to do the right thing here by informing the patients that their information was exposed, and they will offer patient free credit monitoring and all of that. I mean, almost everybody, including the credit bureaus, it got hacked a few years ago. So there's a lot more information that were hacked, probably by the same group, Black Hat.
And just to add to that, just keep an eye on your statements, keep an eye on your banking, just see if there's any unusual transactions. So those could be documented in that time where the cyber attack happened. So that's something that you can use to dispute those charges with your bank. But
I usually monitor my banks through the mobile app at least 6 times a day. I look for, anything. I look at my transactions at least 6 times per day.
So the next question we have is asking, can Microwize have a plan B if a similar situation happens in the future?
You missed the question, Kim. Medicare does not accept paper claims. What options do we have to submit?
No, that's underneath this one.
Michael, by the way, Michael, today I just received the email from Medicare that they are going to accept the paper. If you see the information was sent yesterday, they will accept the paper, and they instructed their contractor to accept the paper. That's the Medicare.
Yes, but because of this special circumstances, Medicare will accept paper. I heard that they will even accept the claim through fax. That I haven't verified, but I was told that most payers will accept even a fax. If you fax them the claim, they will pay.
I guess that answers.
Yeah, and I do understand also that for certain Medicare jurisdictions, there are different rules as well. We do have some Medicares that I know of that are accepting paper claims, and then I did have a client reach out saying, our Medicare is not allowing us to submit paper claims. What can we do? So in that instance, it would just be through the Medicare portal, or generally Medicare does have a better timely filing, which obviously does not help with payments that you would be receiving, but at least the claims would still be able to go out electronically when it comes back online.
Okay, just that there's a lot of people joined after we started. Just to review quickly the Plan B options, paper claims. So you can submit paper claims even for the payers like Medicare that normally don't take paper. And option 2 is sending claims through the portal. That's a Navinet and Ability, and also Optum EDI. The option number 3 is to change your clearinghouse, but changing clearinghouse can take 15 days. And as I mentioned, finally, Change Healthcare acknowledged they've given us at least a date now. And they didn't say that they paid it, but there's enough evidence out there that shows there was a huge $22 million transaction in Bitcoin that were paid to somebody in Russia. And a lot of experts believe that this is the hackers that they got the money. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So the next question we have is, can Microwize have a plan B if a similar situation happens in the future? You'll be able to seamlessly and instantly transfer all your clients to another portal or clearinghouse.
Okay, so that's a very tough question because it's not Microwize that's holding you, it's the enrollment. So if you going through enrollment to change clearinghouse, that usually takes 2-3 weeks under normal circumstances. So there's nothing I can do to make it faster because it's not me, it's the payers and it's the clearinghouse enrollment.
Michael, Robert, can you enroll all of your clients into two different?
You can only enroll in one clearinghouse at a time.
Okay.
There's something called add a clearinghouse, and that's usually only 90 days. And I think that's only Medicare. You can add a clearinghouse temporary for 90 days, but you cannot have two clearinghouse at all the time to pick and choose which way you're going to go.
Okay.
It's almost like saying that can you send a package through UPS and FedEx at the same time? That you cannot do that. You have to pick only one carrier. You cannot subscribe in two different clearinghouse at the same time. So next question.
Sure. What is your level of confidence in regard to cybersecurity for Change Healthcare services as they return?
I think that question is way beyond my knowledge. I don't know how they do their network. I don't know how they do their security. I'm sure they have all the precautions. If the Pentagon can get hacked, anybody can get hacked. Now you can ask me, how do I do my own cybersecurity? That's an easier question for me than to answer on the behalf of Change Health. And I cannot say that somebody else has a better security than them. It's a very complicated topic, and I cannot just say they will get hacked again or they're not. I doubt it because the Black Hat is the worst hackers out there, and they usually don't hit in the same place twice.
The next question that we have is saying, you mentioned manual work when billing 837s and posting ERAs due to no direct integration with Change Health. I think they mean Availity, but isn't that the same as with Change Healthcare? It used to have direct integration, but was told that integration no longer exists. So that is actually two separate portions of Change Healthcare. They do have a product which used to be Relay, I believe. Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That no longer
that
direct upload.
And MDON and Capario, they're all under the Change Healthcare umbrella. So they're just a very big company that owns a bunch of subsidiary smaller companies. And then depends on how they process the claims. I don't know if anybody on the call has been a Capario client for a long time, but they used to do the one-click send and one-click bring reports, and that completely changed, and now it's a manual upload. So that's why it sounds like it's Change Healthcare, but there's so many companies under Change Healthcare. That's exactly it. So, but with eMedix, it's a clearinghouse owned by the parent company of Medisoft, it is a full integration, especially also if you're doing eligibility. That will definitely be something that you should look into or consider, just because other clearinghouses, almost 90% positive that the eligibility will have to be done on their website. It's not something that can be scheduled overnight. So by the time you come in the morning, your patients have been verified. So again, put the manual labor in perspective at that point and how much stress you're going to put on your staff or yourself to get everything done to prep for the next day when your patients come and see you.
The next question that we have is saying CMS advised they will use the same data on file to a new clearinghouse. Form 8229 needs to be completed and faxed to them. Is this something you would help with if I decide to change clearinghouses? Yeah, so I mean, if you are choosing to change to the eMedix clearinghouse, we do have enrollment services that would assist with that changeover. More or less, if it's a clearinghouse that we do not work with, I believe we can offer services to assist with that, but it's not something that's typically included.
And just to add to that, we're very comfortable with eMedix enrollments and of course Change Healthcare enrollments because we've worked with them religiously. So if you chose to go down that road, our team tries to make sure that your forms and application are as bulletproof as possible. So it does not delay your enrollment, because one wrong number, one wrong field, anything that they're not looking for, your enrollment will get pushed back. And So we try to work with your team as much as possible and as close as possible to fill everything that's needed, so no delays happen with enrollments.
Yep, I put that question out there. Can I just talk for a moment? I read that the CMS is doing it very quickly using the same data. My question is, if we get connected to Change Healthcare and decide to go to eMedix within a month or two, but get all our claims kind of settled with Change Healthcare because there's so much out there. I mean, I'm getting EOBs from secondary, then I don't even have a payment for Medicare that has been out there. So would that be a possibility to do that? I mean, instead of having a breakup of the system?
So generally with the enrollment for Medicare, they do allow, you can maintain a prior clearinghouse, as Robert had explained earlier, for usually about 3 months. So you will still be able to receive ERAs and send claims at the very least until your new enrollment is finalized, and then everything will start flowing through the new one. I'm not exactly familiar with what they mean about keeping the same data, because changing clearinghouses will change the data that they need to have on file, meaning submitter IDs and so forth. But for the most part, if Change Healthcare was still online, or once they come back online, that transition is a lot smoother than what we're seeing right now, obviously because we don't have access to the Change Healthcare clearinghouse at the moment.
Well, some of the important data that takes a while to, from my experience, is you giving the bank information to the clearinghouse, whereas Medicare is going to deposit your checks or the different payers. Now, yes, that information is going to be processed. I think it's processed by the payer. It's not processed by the clearinghouse. It's not the clearinghouse
Correct.
makes the deposit.
Yeah, that doesn't go through the clearinghouse anymore.
So if this is, if that form is a valid form, so what is that saying? That you don't need to fill those forms again, that where you want your direct deposit to go. We will verify that, and hopefully that is true information, and that will definitely make the process faster. The question, if this is true, why don't they do that even without this emergency? Why didn't they offer that form? I never heard of that form before. So if this form is a valid form, we'll investigate it. Do you have the form number, Kim?
I do. It is.
Yeah, I have it here.
It's Novitas, and it came to me as an email from CMS. And then I went on to Novitas, and they had, that they would be doing that in New Jersey, because they said different states will be a little bit different. And I did print out the form. I mean, I filled it out and printed it out. And it seems like it's almost like adding a payer, that it's the information you do when you add a new payer to your system. So I personally would like to change after this. I know you said that it might, but I don't know. It's just a feeling. But I don't want to change and be in the middle of a mess now, because it's a lot of EOBs that are going to be coming paper and input that they're not going to, if I change now. So that was my question, if you understand.
So you'll still be able to receive those, absolutely, even if you started the transition period now, because we don't generally cancel the clearinghouse until your largest payers are up and running on the new one. Obviously, things are a little bit different now, but you should still be receiving those ERAs from Change Healthcare as long as they have everything in order.
Okay, then I'll keep in touch with you guys then and find out more information.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And just add to that real quick. Once Change Healthcare comes back online, there is a crosswalk that allows the enrollment process to be, like Kim said, a lot smoother. So, but the service has to be up, which is Change Healthcare. Once that happens, the migration to eMedix will be easier, because they'll just basically, you'll be sending normally, and then the routing will be just done on the back end until everything just transfers over. And the cutoff line for financials, because I think that's where they draw the line, where you can't have two entities that you're enrolled to, which is the 90 days that Robert mentioned. So
yeah.
But once Change Healthcare comes up, things will be better.
Okay. The next question we had is, how is your team coming with new clearinghouse enrollments? I spoke with Medicaid enrollment, and they urged providers to submit enrollment applications ASAP before the likely bombardment of applications they will be getting.
I think the worst, if there's any bombardment that already happened.
I agree.
If Change Health didn't have a date for recovery, then I would expect a bigger bombardment of switching. But since they already have a date, I don't think there will be a rush to switch.
And the team works on enrollment as they come. It does help a lot when the office is cooperative and helping us fill out information, because there's some information that we do not know and we should not be filling, and that's on the practice. So the quicker and more efficient we work with the practice, the quicker the enrollment will go out the door. So if there's something to keep in mind.
The next question we have is, when submitting through NGS Connects, which is a Medicare portal, are the payments sent to the provider electronically as well? Your settings for payments and EOBs should not be changed at that point. You'll still be receiving your payments the way you always have, and the ERAs will be available on the NGS Connect portal. And then once Change Healthcare comes back online, you should be able to get them through there as well. The next question we had was, any news from insurances to extend submission timeframe? Has anybody heard anything regarding that?
I'm sure appealing timely filing is going to be very easy for this episode here, for this problem. I don't think you'll have a problem having a timely filing, because the timely filing is always based on the clearinghouse sending the claim. The whole world knows that Change Health was hacked, so I don't think you need to prove anything and you need to fight anything. I think that's going to be an easy battle to win.
Okay, next we have, what about claims that were sent to Change Healthcare after 2/21/24? Do we need to resubmit? Yes.
Yeah.
Any claim
Now, this
after the
is
clearinghouse
just
went down.
this is a topic that I want to talk about. Please do not hold your claims too long. Don't wait till the last minute. See, things like that happens and nobody expected it. Do not wait on your claims. Send your claims as soon as you can. I know some people don't like to send claims in the beginning of the year because of the deductible. Now, there's a lot of advanced eligibility verification tells you if the patient met the deductible or not. So at least, if this is one of the things you like to do, at least you would know if the patient met the deductible. Don't wait blankly, like a blank 90 days. I heard of people waiting 6 months, not sending their claims because they don't want to deal with deductible with the patient. So please do not do that. There's many things can go wrong. And this is example of one thing can go. Okay, sorry, Kim.
Nope, that's perfectly fine. So the next question that we had was essentially the same question, but also adding on, will we lose any information in Relay Health?
No, I think when they restore the system. So what usually happen in a hack, they encrypt every single file. So there's an encryption that you try to open a file or a screen and you will see a ransomware sign. And that you cannot open that unless you have a very long encryption key. And that encryption key is the only one that knows that encryption key is the hacker, and the hacker don't give that key to the victim until they pay. So we have evidence that they paid, they probably got that key, and once they open that key, they will be able to read everything. Now, of course, most likely the hacker got a lot of the information, your information, the patient information, but that's a different problem that we need to deal with. But once they get the key, they will not be losing anything. Now, if they, unfortunately, I hope that none of you will be a victim of this. Those type of hackers are very sophisticated, and what they do is they hit the system and they hit the backups. Now, there's two options here why the victim here, which is Change Healthcare, decided to pay the money, because they probably were blackmailed that if they don't pay the money, they're going to use the patient information and the confidential your information and sell it in the dark web. So that could be one of the reasons why they pay the money, so they don't have to be blackmailed and jeopardize your information and the patient information. The other reason why they might have had to do this, if the hackers, they hit the backups for them as well, which happens in many practices. So that's why, this is like a self-serving here, but you should be speaking to our cybersecurity expert at Microwize to make sure that your data and your backups are secure, because a lot of people think they have backup and they protect it, and they're not, because the hackers knows how to hit your backup as well as your server. Now, somebody might ask me what Microwize is doing to protect themselves and to protect you, for all the people have our cloud server. So the backup is not at the same location as the server. So it's in multiple locations. So if one location get hit, I have other backups. So I have multiple layers of protection to protect you. Plus I have a 24/7 cybersecurity monitoring to monitor any special activity going on the networks to make sure there's no suspicious activity happening. And if there's any suspicious activity happening, everything will be cut off before the hackers grab any information. So again, the likelihood for us to get hacked, knock on wood, is very slim. It's much slimmer than your practice getting hacked if you handle your own backups and your own cybersecurity. I do have expert in cybersecurity and expert in IT that most practices cannot afford. So, this sound like self-serving and infomercial, but you should be having somebody at Microwize to take a look at your plans and make sure that your information is protected unless you're in the cloud, which is great. That's like an 80% protection, but you should also protect your own infrastructure, your X-rays, your file server, the things that it's not on my cloud, because the cloud might have only Medisoft or Lytec or a Prima or Greenway, but in your own network, you might have a lot more information that you might have.
The next question that we have is it possible that we can start the enrollment process with a new clearinghouse and cancel it if Change Healthcare is up and running by 3/18? I do not recommend doing that unless you want to continue with the new clearinghouse. Once we start submitting enrollments, particularly for Medicare or Blue Cross Blue Shield, once they're out there and they get approved, generally your submission for the old clearinghouse will be cut off, or it will soon be cut off. So you would be doing double work if you started enrolling with a new clearinghouse, which would come with additional clearinghouse costs. And then generally the time frame to cancel new clearinghouses is going to be a 30-day notice. So it would be a full month worth of payment for that. And you would have to redo enrollments if you choose to stay with Change Healthcare. So changing clearinghouses and submitting new enrollments is going to be a very specific decision that you have to make. It's not going to be in the interim situation. If that's the case, I would just go through and submit your claims, either if you can do through Availity or Medicare website or on paper for Medicare in that time being, unless you truly want to change to the new clearinghouse, in which we can assist you with those enrollments. Robert or Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you're absolutely right.
The next question we have is, once Change Healthcare is up and running, will there be any new changes as to how claims are submitted? Will services be like it was before the hack?
No
I have
changes
not
should
heard anything
happen.
about changes.
Yeah, no changes. The only thing that we might end up with is they might send like a new login and password to the mailbox, which is basically like your electronic address for claims to go out. It's not something that you would know or get, but if you do get a document that says, like a secure login and password or whatever, just let our team know. But from a functionality out of Medisoft, that will not change, or Lytec, that will not change. But if they give you new logins, please let us know. So those can be put into your revenue management to allow the claims and reports to go out and come back.
Okay. The next question we had was, can you recommend steps for us to prevent cyber attack on our offices?
All right. So again, cyber attack it's very hard to prevent. So the best way to prevent it is having an expert to take care of your network. So there's multiple layers. The number one is, of course, the antivirus. Number two is the firewall, and the firewall has so many brands and so many different configuration that need to be configured correctly by an expert. Then, of course, the monitoring. There's a monitoring service that can monitor your network to make sure there's no suspicious activity happening. So Microwize have a cybersecurity package that gives you all of the above. It gives you, we making sure your backup is happening. We're making sure your backup is separated from your network. It's not on the same network. It's not on the same box. It's in a totally different location. So if you ever get hacked, your backup is still intact. There's a monitoring service by experts to monitor your network. There's the firewall and the maintenance of the firewall. So we do have a managed IT package that handles your cybersecurity needs. So go ahead and give Joe a call, or anybody, your account manager at Microwize. They will help you. Some of you might be already on a managed IT. You can upgrade it to make sure that it includes the firewall and includes the backups and all of that. But many of you is already on it. And if your data is in the cloud, we're protecting that already for you. But your own network need to be protected as well because you do have a file server, you might have an X-ray machine, you might have other information on your network, documents, scanned images of driver's license, and many things on your network that need to be protected. So give us a call and we will help you with that. And if you already have a plan, we'll review the plan and make sure that it does cover your cybersecurity protection.
The next question that we have is, do you have a link where we can apply for the loan that's being offered? I think we can send that out.
This is the link. This is an article. It's not, I don't think this is United Health themselves, but it's an article saying that there is a loan that can be
I believe it's coming from Optum.
It's coming from Optum. Okay. Let me copy it into the chat.
Well, we're getting that. And we can send that out as well so that you have that also. I have it noted down. The next question we have is, if Change Healthcare gets ready to accept claims sooner, would you notify us?
Yes, we will notify you we have a place on our website that gives you the latest information. So again, this is under Microwize. When you go on company, then blog, and over here, if there's anything new, we'll have a big article. Probably is going to take the first spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next question that we have is Novita Sphere portal, which is for Medicare, asks for 837 files to be uploaded to their site. How do I go about doing this from revenue management? Is there a specific file that I can grab from outside the Medisoft network program to upload into the portal?
Yes, we will record a video of how to do that. Kim, do you know if we recorded that video or not? Or Michael?
I'm gonna actually jump on that one.
Recorded it.
Yeah,
go ahead, Mike.
Dr. Philipak, I'm actually gonna have a ticket created for you, and basically IT will just have to publish that folder for you where the 837 file gets saved in, so you can easily take it and then upload it to whichever portal that you need to get the claims going. But I'll have someone on our side reach out to you, and we do have the document for ability and stuff like that if you do need to do anything for revenue management for everybody else that we can also send out. But for your case specifically, we just need to publish that folder.
So let me explain to everybody what that means. So when you're using revenue management to process checks your claim, and before the very last step to submit claim, click and submit, there is a file that gets created in a folder that most of you don't care where that folder is. So that folder has the 835. The 835 is the electronic version of the claim. So that 835 is, I'm sorry, it's an 837. 835 is the payment. 837 is the claim. So the 837 is the one that you need to submit the claim. The 835, the one that you need to, that's like your EOB. All right. Next question.
Next question is, once the systems are up and running, would it be wise to wait a couple of days before submitting claims because there could be hiccups and congestion? Or would it be safe to immediately submit all claims once Change Healthcare is up and running?
That's a very good question. Now, if they say it's clear, I expect it to be clear. The question is, there will be traffic jam. Can you imagine when millions of people have not submitted claims, and in one day, all those claims will be submitted? Yes, that's a lot of stress on servers, and I hope their network traffic can handle it. So that's a very tough question. So if you have a way to submit off hours, means when not the most practices operating outside of the 9 to 5, I would probably, like, if you can submit 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you probably have a better luck to send your claims. But if I say to everybody wait, everybody's gonna wait, then the jam is going to happen after the date. So I will keep trying, and if you get the green light to go ahead, I will try it. If it doesn't go through, I will wait until off hours and try to submit. But that's a very good question.
And sorry, just to add to that, once you start sending your claims, make sure you're receiving your 999 reports. Those are crucial reports. The one that automatically pops up immediately as soon as you send your claims. This is just basically an acknowledgement of what was sent. You can, of course, print it, save it to a PDF or whatever the case is, but the most crucial report that you need is the 999 report, because that basically says the claims have either been, if they made it to the clearing or the payer, and then what their take on those claims are, if you have any rejections, if you have any acceptance, whatever it is. So if you're not getting again, the 999 report, definitely let us know. And just so we can look and see what's happening to the claim file, look at see if what rejections you might not be seeing or whatever the case is. But if you're getting successful 999 reports, then that means your claims have made it and they're getting processed for payment. If you're not getting reports, then let us know. If you are getting reports, open them and see what they rejected for. And if you're unsure of how to fix them, please let us know. But your indicator is the 999 report.
Absolutely. Okay. Our next question is, what large commercial payers require enrollment to submit 837? Off the top of my head, the only one that I can think of that is a commercial payer is going to be Blue Cross Blue Shield. And it's not necessarily all Blue Cross Blue Shield plans for the United States. I know Blue Cross Blue Shield New Jersey requires it, but they're one of the few that I can think of that is a commercial payer that may require enrollment for claim submission or the 837 submission.
I don't understand the question. What's the 837 has to do with enrollment?
It's just a claim file that gets submitted to the
No. But why?
clearinghouse is the 837.
What does the 837 have to do with the enrollment?
Well, if a payer requires enrollment for claims, it would be an enrollment for 837 submission.
Yes, so any electronic claim is an 837. So everybody enrolling in an electronic claim, it's a standard format, the 837. So the paper claim is the CMS 100. The electronic is the 837. So 837 goes to everybody that takes electronic.
Yes, but he's asking what commercial payers require enrollment for the submission of that.
Oh, enrollment for the submission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's correct.
Yeah, that's the biggest one that I can think of. And like I said, that's not even necessarily every single state in the United States. I just know of a few off the top, like New Jersey, Blue Cross Blue Shield New Jersey does require that. Next one we have, just to be clear, once Change Healthcare is up and running, remittances will still come in electronically through revenue management so that we can post them. They should.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that I mean, the only holdup at that point would be them flowing through Change Healthcare. But if everything is restored back to normal, there should be no issues. They should be coming through as usual.
Watch your aging very carefully in the next 90 days because I want to hear 90 days from now is I thought the claim was submitted or resubmitted and I never got paid for it. And now I lost of timely filing. Pay attention because things can fall through the crack through all this mess. So just pay closer attention to your aging and to make sure everything is submitted and you get paid on everything.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. The next one, will you be notifying us of the date we can safely start submitting claims again? Yes, I think we already addressed that actually. Setting a smaller test file. You can send a smaller test file if you prefer, just to make sure that it went through and you're receiving your 999 successfully, but you should be receiving those reports as Michael was saying.
All right. I have a suggestion here, guys. If you have not submitted for a while and they said, go ahead and go submit, and now we have 3,000 claims. Don't submit all 3,000 claims one shot. Don't submit more than 50 claims your first batch.
Yeah.
Just keep it small, the first batch, and then if the 50 goes, then do your next batch 75, and if the 75 go, the next batch will be 100. Don't submit thousands of claims one shot.
Yes, that's a very important point. Okay, let's see. The next one we have, if we use Connect Center, will we see claims that did not go through? In this instance, because they shut off, for lack of a better phrase, the clearinghouse, they did not even make it to the clearinghouse. So you are going to want to resubmit all of your claims back through Connect Center as well.
And if you're unsure, you can go back a couple of days. And if those claims have made it, then they will show up as they will reject for duplication. But I'd rather you get a response from the clearinghouse because those claims are duplicated instead of assuming that they went, but they haven't. And then you end up with the aging fiasco later and thinking that claims have gone and they haven't. So if you're unsure, just go back a few days when things were.
Yeah. Okay. The next question we have, will we only receive 835 files from that day forward or any backed up ones as well? That I'm not certain about. I would believe that it would be everything.
Yeah, so like I explained, the encryption key, everything they have now, it got encrypted. And once they get the key, they will decrypt it. So the only thing is going to be missing is the things that you thought you sent and they never got it. So just make sure that during that gap is clear. then verify where's the last claims that you submitted and you received, then go from that point on. Now, I know it's easy said than done. You're going to do some trial and error until you get it right. Now, again, this is another self-serving thing that I'm about to say, but just a disclaimer. So we do have remote employees that can help you. So I do have people that can help you. Normally, we don't do this for less than a year commitment after the first 90 days. But because of this special circumstances, now I don't have unlimited people, but I have at least 10 people that I can allocate for first come, first serve. They're for $525 per week. You can have a full-time employee that can help you remotely, and there's no commitment. You can get a month because of this mess that we are in. So I only have 10 people that's ready to help you if you need help for $525 per week that can help you with this mess that we are in.
Okay. We had one other question here. For claims sent out after 2/21, should those patients be notified about the security hack due to personal info being exposed?
I think that question came up last week. If you should notify your patients, I don't think you should. At least that's my
That's not your
unsolicited.
problem. That's
Yeah.
Change Health's problem. They're under the HIPAA and the Business Associate Agreement. It's their responsibility, not your responsibility.
The last question so far is, are those remote employees familiar with Medisoft?
Yes, of course.
Yes, and Lytec.
And there's another one here. Can we start sending the claims to Medicare, and what type of form?
It's the CMS 1500-02/12, and it's the red form. Medicare is the only one that requires red form unless you take the time to make a call to them and find out if they're making any exceptions. But if they do
Yes,
not, it has
every
to be the
state
red
is
form.
different, and maybe because of this emergency, they don't. So let me explain why they need the red form. Medicare and a few other insurance companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have special scanners that they take the form and they scan it, and the OCR populates the claim for them. So there is no human data entry. Because of this mess, they might make an exception and have humans enter them. But if you can get the red form, I would rather do that. Run to this. You can order it online, or you can go get it from Stable. I don't know if Stable sells it anymore. They used to sell it. Then
Amazon has.
I would just get the red form with the QR code and do it this way. It's easier for them to scan it, and hopefully they'll process your claim faster. So I would not fight the red form. It might be $10, $20 to get those red forms. Just get it. And if you never align the red form, that can take like a half hour or 45 minutes to align it if it's never been aligned on your printer. So that can be a time consuming. Okay.
All right, it looks like that's all the questions we had. Oh, wait, we got one more. Do you think we will be missing remittances that were sent to Change Healthcare during the blackout, or do you envision them all being there?
That's a tough question to ask. I would be very vigilant, review every claim, and make sure that it got there to your payers and you can pay on it. Pay attention to your aging, pay attention to all the different report that gives you the confirmation that the claim was received. Don't take it for granted. And if you need additional help, I have 10 people that can help for the first 10 people that ask for them. And it's only $525 with no commitment. You can just get them for a month, only 1 month, if that's all you need.
If we send the forms on paper, are they going to send us the EOBs on paper? No. As we explained before, the choices that you have set up with all of your carriers are not going to be different based on how you send the claims. So if you're being paid direct deposit, you're going to be paid direct deposit. If you're getting your EOBs electronically only, they will still be coming electronically only once the clearinghouse is back online, is when they should start coming back in.
So one question to you, Cam. You mentioned something, if I'm not mistaken. You said some companies doesn't require re-enrollment, but you couldn't remember off your head which companies could be. And I think you or Robert mentioned these companies, you can send the claim through their portal. Am I right, or I misunderstand it?
Yes. So we think payers like Aetna, Cigna, Oxford, United, they don't need enrollment. So you can submit the electronic claims through to the portal.
Okay. So at this point, would you kindly compose the list of those companies that we can submit to them directly. So at least we can catch up with those ones now until the problem solved.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is when I'm sending the email with the recording, I will include an attachment with the payers that we know of and what's the best way to handle it. If it's paper or you can submit it through the portal, and I will have a recording that shows you how to submit the 837 through a portal. Now it's not gonna be because
the
there's
only
things
thing
I
with
have
the
to.
payers, the only thing with the list of payers, I don't believe we're going to be able to put a list of payers together. We can provide you with perhaps the link for the eMedix website where you can look up payers and see
We
if they
don't have
require
eMedix,
enrollment.
but I'm talking about we don't have eMedix.
I
But
understand.
Like
the
the
problem
top 5 or 6, like Robert just mentioned.
When I say payer, I'm not gonna give you all the payers. Yeah, I'm gonna give you
Yes,
like
we can
United
do the top
Techna,
5
Aetna,
commercial
the
payers.
top 5 or 6 payers.
Yes.
We can
Maybe
do the top 5
15.
commercial payers, but apart from that, we won't be able to do a lot of payers because many payers are specific to state as well.
Yeah,
Blue
we're
Cross
not
Blue Shield,
talking about
Medicare,
all of them.
Medicaid.
Okay, we are not talking about all of them, but at least the top 5 or 6 payers. So at least we can catch up with those directly until we see what will happen over the next few weeks.
Sure.
Okay. I will really appreciate if you can send that through an email, like the email that you usually send it about this meeting and about the Zoom, so we can catch up.
You got it. Any
Okay.
other?
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Kim.
Welcome.
Let me see here. So not another question, but we did have a note here from Christine saying Availity has a list of payers that require enrollment that is searchable. So if you go to the Availity website, you are able to search for that as well and see if the payer requires enrollment or not. We will include the top 5 payers on our next email going out.
You know what? Let's include the link that Christine just sent us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just
Michael
put it in
actually
the
just
chat.
sent it in the chat, and we'll include it in the email as well. Yeah.
So if we already enrolled in Availity, how long does it take? I just submitted everything last week because you're mentioning that we can get all this information from Availity. So I'm not sure, would it be possible now or they have to wait until full enrollment to happen with them?
No, you can submit the payers that don't need enrollment now if you have Availity access.
We just send for them the information and the application. So I'm not sure how many days or how many weeks they will take.
That would be a question for them. We don't know what Availity's timeline when it comes to enrollment and how many people are enrolling with them. So your best case scenario would be follow the link I sent to see what's needed for enrollment or who requires enrollment and who doesn't. But you will have to place a call to Availity to find out what's your status on.
Yes, I understand that this is up to them. I'm talking about the fact that Kim just mentioned that we can get this information by going on Availity. So I'm saying until this happens, which can take 2-3 weeks, we don't know, how can we get this list? That's why we prefer that you guys, if you can help us by writing the top 5-6 companies and send it to us, because we wouldn't have access to Availity for now.
Right. Doctor,
we already
said that we're going to send the top 6 payers.
Yeah.
And we're going to include the public list from Availity as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. The last thing I see here from Sharon is, when do you anticipate sending this to us? I'm only asking because I received the email announcing the webinar about 5 minutes before it started. So we will be getting out the email next week. It may take a little bit of time because we are going to include the recording in it, but the email that was sent out after that or just before the webinar was just a reminder for the webinar to begin.
If you want to sign for the next seminar, I'm going to have another one next week. It's now, if you don't want to, if you missed the email for whatever reason, if you go to Microwize and click on events, you will see the seminar here, and you can just click on it and register for it. So you don't have to.
By the way, Robert, I just get a message that apparently the system will be back again on 3/15. Have you heard about this?
Well, I just told you my personal estimate is 3/15.
Huh. Okay.
So, and that's my gut feeling. I don't have any information that somebody else told me, but that's my personal estimate is 3/15.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I hope we meet at better times, but we will have another meeting next Friday unless everybody is up and running. You know what? Let's have a meeting anyway, because some people might have a follow-up question. So we will have a meeting next Friday, same time, same place. thank you so much for your business. Thank you so much for your patience, and see you next week. And hopefully
Thank you, everybody.
things will be better. Bye. Thank you, Kim. Thank you,
Thank you,
Michael.
everybody. You are the
First-
best. Thank you.
Kim.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.